In my first video, I talked about my overcoming narcissism, something that few narcissists are ever able to do by themselves. And it's something that only a narcissist can do for themselves. It's something that must be starved. It cannot be attacked directly. I didn't know that at the time. It took me decades to understand what it was that I had actually accomplished. But as part of overcoming my childhood difficulties, I developed a sharp objectivity, a discernment. When I applied that objectivity to the beliefs I was supposed to have as a Christian, beliefs didn't hold up. They weren't the equivalent of what I had developed within my own life. They weren't worthy of me. And I understood this. I didn't see it in that. I didn't vocalize it in that way. But what I was supposed to be believing was unworthy of being believed by me. As a consequence, I started drifting away from Christianity. Didn't want to give it up all at once because hellfire and damnation and fear instilled within me from my childhood. But over the next several years of slowly drifting away from it and putting it behind me, I'd outgrown it. Did quite well in my last few years of high school. Kicking ass would not be an overstatement, I should say. I was a scholastic rock star. Went into university expecting great things in chemical engineering. Back to being a scientist. Something was very, very wrong. I remember being given an exam. This would have been the very first test that I was given very early on in the term, probably before the term even began. And it was maths and problems that I had won awards for, that I had helped teach in high school. Couldn't do it. Didn't understand it. And I knew I used to understand it. And I didn't enjoy it. It was mentally difficult and hard. All the fun had been sucked out of learning chemistry and solving chemical problems. That was the start of my long, dark night of the soul. I've blogged about this on my Medium blogs. You can find the link in my link tree on my profile. First year of university, I fell behind very quickly. I didn't have study skills. In high school, I'd do the work with a few exceptions. I'd never had homework. And I'd study a few hours before the exam and I'd kick ass. Didn't know how to study. In university, they kick your ass. Every day, 8 hours, schools and labs. And for every hour of schooling, you have an hour of homework. Didn't do it, didn't know how to do it. Fell behind very, very quickly, struggling to maintain a passing average. And there was heaps of parties. $5 keggers, all you can drink. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Guess what I did? I had a lot of fun. A lot of it I can't even remember. But at the end of my first year, I was on probation. Didn't enjoy my schooling. Didn't know what I was going to be doing. Trying not to worry about it. Trying not to let it define me. I was doing far less well than I had anticipated doing, than I had expected to do. But I was trying to be positive, move forward, and try to figure out what it was I wanted to do with my life. Within my first month of being on work term at Government of Canada in Ottawa, I had a girlfriend from high school. My life was not going as well as I thought, but hey, I've got my girlfriend. And then she cheated on me and broke up with me. Within weeks, highly correlated. At the time, I thought it was caused by, but I don't believe that's the case now. I fell into depression. First time I was ever experiencing depression, and I've never experienced it again. The absolute worst time of my life. I've never been so out of control. All the skills that I had developed in managing myself and understanding myself and changing how I viewed things, completely useless. Someone's gonna hit me. It was all pain. I was, within months, I was ready to pack it in. I'd had enough. I just wanted it to stop. And I had anger. Anger was the only thing that was keeping me going. I was angry at my ex. I had feelings of intense jealousy, not because of what she did, but because her life was moving on while mine was falling to pieces. It wasn't fair. It wasn't justified. I'd worked hard to get to where I was, and it was all falling away, and there was nothing I could do about it. That anger was the only thing that kept me moving forward. It was the only thing giving me energy. But I was consuming myself to fuel that fire. Within 6 months, I had just about undone all the work that I had accomplished with myself over the past 6 years. I had just about reduced myself to an animal state. Around Christmas of 1989, I recognized, after having failed my phys chem exam and expecting to be kicked out of university, I recognized that I was holding on to that anger and that it was to my detriment, and I needed to put that behind me. So I called my ex and I told her that I forgave her. And when you forgive someone, it's supposed to be a load off. You're not supposed to be worried about it anymore. It's something in the past that no longer controls you or dictates the terms of your life. Not that time. Worst time of the worst time of my life. I was empty. My motivation was gone. I had nothing left. I went on another work term in another department of the Government of Canada, and I was, for the first month, just one foot in front of the other. I had no plans. I had no... My eyes were blank, completely empty, and just in pain. Couldn't even think. But the healing process started. It needed to be done. If I had held on to that anger any longer, it would have consumed me. It would have destroyed me. That was all before the age of 20. So I escaped the narcissism which almost nobody does. It's unheard of. An engineering zero. And I survived crippling, serious clinical depression, which destroys many, many others. And the work that I had accomplished on myself was barely enough to overcome that. But I did. I shouldn't have survived past the age of 20.